One of the things that I think is not talked about enough with LLMs is the fact that you probably should be changing the way you design programming languages and libraries around the way that they're used, right? I mean, so one of the things that you see, for example, is that in a lot of studies, you see Julia actually gets higher accuracy with LLMs than Python, even though Python has, much more training data out there. You might ask, why is this the case? And it's really not accidental, right? One example that comes from the Julia space is that for the Julia package manager, it noticed that these UUIDs that were used to identify packages, so every package has a name and a UUID that goes with it, kind of a string of characters that's supposed to be unique. So that way, if you have the same package name, they have a unique identifier. One of the things that was found was that LLMs always hallucinated these UUIDs. Um, but what was done was that actually the PKG system was changed so that way its error message would check if you have the package name right, but you have the wrong UUID, we ask you the question, hey, look, in the main registry, the UUID tends to be this. Are you sure that's not what you wanted to write? Turns out that after changing the error message in that way, the accuracy of the PKG system went from 15% to over 90%, right? So basically, one error message change made it so that way LLMs like Claude, when you're using it with Julia, it used to almost never be able to add the dependencies correctly the first time, but now it almost always one shots it. And that's not by changing the training or fine tuning LLMs anymore. That's by changing the language and the libraries and the feedback that they give in error messages. And so I think that this is a very underlooked fact that, because we know that LLMs are targeting our languages, we should be changing the way that we're designing some of the error messages and changing the interfaces around them to improve that accuracy.